We started off earlier in the week talking about the inspirations of Star Trek, which manifested into modern reality. I gave an example of how sometimes the manifestations even are not good, but tragic, especially when it came to Morgan Robertson's story, The Wreck of the Titan, which I talked about on yesterday's video, wherein he predicts the Titanic disaster before it happens. For today's real life story, however, I plan to take you out to sea yet again. But this true tale of terror was spun by a different author, and one who died not too far away from here. In fact, the city of Baltimore is best known for, in fact, only one author, and that would be Edgar Allan Poe. And not because he was born there either. It was actually because he died there. So kind of strange for Baltimore, but befitting for Poe. The football team, the Ravens, was even named after his famous story, The Raven. And I predict that if they decide to change their name again, they won't change it back. Nevermore. That was a long way to the punchline, huh? So anyway, do me a favor right now and like this video. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't already, and click that bell next to the subscribe button. And that way I can continue to make videos like this just for you. These are my real life stories of the impossible. And today we were actually talking about the clairvoyance of Edgar Allan Poe. So through his writings, we've come to understand that people will admit their sins through their hallucinations via the telltale heart. And in fact, through his story, The Raven, we've actually come to realize that it's true that ravens and crows actually do speak. Yeah. And so, but this is actually about a different story. It's actually called The Narrative of Arthur Gordon Pym from Nantucket. And we find that he's actually, through this story, at least as clairvoyant as Morgan Robertson was with the Wreck of the Titan. In this Nantucket tale, in fact, written in 1838, there is a scene wherein after the sailors find themselves out at sea, and then they find themselves at a point where they're dying of starvation, and their remedy is to draw straws to decide who will sacrifice himself among his fellow men to nourish the rest of the group. Edgar Allan Poe, great reading, huh? By the way, spoiler alert, in that scene, a character by the name of Richard Parker is the one who draws the short straw and is subsequently cannibalized. Now, if you're disappointed, to my defense, Poe's story was written in 1838, so you had nearly 200 years to have read it by now. So, by the way, in the spirit of real life stories of the impossible, though, we've been talking about fiction and how fiction, in the most uncanny way, can sometimes predict reality. So now I'm going to lead you to the true story, which actually takes place 46 years later in 1884, when the British yacht, the Mignonette, found itself lost at sea with a starving crew who decidedly drew straws. So just as in the Poe story, one of them would end up nourishing the rest. Well, it turns out the guy who drew the short straw was a cabin boy by the name of Richard Parker. What? Furthermore, this was actually the incident which started a legal battle that changed the custom of the sea, which at the time was actually accepted as that such a fate was tragic, but a necessity. And then they changed that to a legal crime, as it should be. In case you were ever looking forward to being forced into legal cannibalization from being stranded on a deserted island, sorry, it's illegal now. By the way, I'm Alain Nu. I'm the man who knows. I perform in the most amazing show that you've never heard about it. And in fact, you can learn more about it by going to themanwhoknows.tv and subscribe to my newsletter. You even get a free gift. Peace.